For my 30-day project, I chose The Subtle Art of Not Giving a counterintuitive approach to living a good life by Mark Manson. I didn't know what to expect from this book, but it's all about living a better life by trying to change your views to make yourself comfortable with the idea that life is full of struggles and life is full of problems, and that life isn't about being happy. It's about dealing with the struggles that life throws at you, because that's what makes it meaningful. So my goals for this project are to step outside of my comfort zone and to change my mindset to live a better life. Life is full of problems, and in order to obtain happiness, we need to constantly be solving those problems. One of my biggest problems is procrastination, so now I'm gonna try to stop that habit and work from there. So I went out and got this calendar, and I color-coded everything so I could keep track of everything that I needed to do. In chapter 2, on page 31, Mark Manson says problems never stop. They merely get exchanged and/or upgraded. So I found that I have a problem with focusing, especially when I don't have some sort of motivation, like an impending due date. So I've decided to listen to music while I do my homework so that I have something to stimulate my brain to keep me focused. Now, when I first signed up for this book, I wasn't expecting to film myself doing homework, and it's probably really boring, but it was really helpful for me to end my habit of procrastination. On page 86, Mark Manson says that good values are 1. Reality-based, 2. Socially constructive, and 3. Immediate and controllable. So my main values are pretty simple. They're respect other people, try the best at everything I do, and maintain healthy relationships. Another thing Mark Manson talks about is metrics, which is kind of a measurement that people use to define their successes and their failures. And I'm a pretty competitive person, so usually my metrics are dependent on other people's failures and successes, which isn't very good. This is Rebecca. She's in my calculus and physics class, and she's the main person that I usually compete with when it comes to test scores and grades and stuff like that. And she usually does a lot better than I do, which is why I chose to change this metric. So I made this list of new possible metrics that I could adopt, and I think I'm gonna choose how hard I try, because no matter how well I do, as long as I try my best in whatever I'm doing, then I can consider myself as a success. So it just so happens that I have an AP Calculus test and an AP Physics test today, going off of half-hour sleep. But today seems like the perfect opportunity to test out my new metric. This metric definitely helped me because I feel more fulfilled after doing a bunch of work and knowing that I tried my best. Mark Manson describes the general public's view of motivation as a sort of chain reaction that comprises of inspiration, then motivation, then action. But his view is what he calls the do something principle. And the main premise is that action isn't just the effect of motivation, it's also the cause of it. This view is described as a sort of eternal loop in which anyone can do some sort of action and then the inspiration and motivation will follow. So for the next few days, I'm going to be forcing myself to do something that I otherwise wouldn't have had the motivation to do. So for the sake of anyone watching this, I'm just gonna mute the audio because this whole day was terrible. My goal was to teach myself how to play at least one song on a guitar, and I just couldn't get the grasp of it. I spent about 6 hours trying to teach myself how to do it, but as you can see by the look on my face, I was really confused and frustrated the entire time. So let's just move on to the next day. So we just went door to door advertising for a car show, but I got community service hours, so it technically counts as community service. I think I had the most fun during this week than any other week, and I definitely feel more motivated to draw more and to do more community service. On page 70, Mark Manson says we need to reject something. Avoiding rejection, both giving and receiving it, gives us short-term pleasure by making us rudderless and directionless in the long term. So I thought a good way to get rejected was through job applications because I don't have any job experience, so that's what I'm going to be doing. So I just sent in my job application for Walmart, and about 10 minutes later I already got rejected, which is good for the video, I guess. In the end, I got 2 job interviews, but I got rejected about 7 times. But I think I know one other way to get rejected. Will you go to prom with me? So that was kind of an abrupt transition, but I honestly couldn't really find anything else to record from my book. And I wanted to talk about this topic because I've kind of been thinking about it a lot, especially after I read that part of the book. And I often think about kind of what's gonna happen after I die and if my impact will actually affect the world in any way. I know it sounds like I'm depressed, but I'm not. But it's just something that I've been thinking about a lot, and I thought I would include it. Because he does provide one anecdote / suggestion that I thought would be beneficial to me if I tried. In his short story, Manson described how he hiked up a mountain and sat at the edge of a cliff, and how the idea of being inches away from plummeting to his death allowed him to confront the reality of his own mortality and in some way enlightened him. So I tried to do the same thing. It didn't really affect me, but at least I tried. This week was kind of sad, but I think it helped me to be more easygoing. I think I achieved my goals because I definitely stepped outside of my comfort zone, and my other goal was to live a better life, and I definitely feel better about myself. During my research, there's a lot of information in the book about changing someone's mindset, which I can't really record it that well. So so the video ended up being just a mishmash of a bunch of random stuff. And I think that happened because the book is about living a better life in general and not like something specific, so it's a broader topic. Well, my main difficulties were that a lot of my book was about changing your mindset, and I can't really film that. And I think my main success is that I generally feel like my way of thinking has improved. One thing I learned is that there are a lot of small things that people can easily change so that they can change their mindset to live a better life. Also, that struggle is an important part of life and that you have to deal with it.